Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're going to talk to you about some board games. Mostly.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I've crossed my fingers. Now what?
Now we talk about football for 30 minutes.
No, we talk about Logan. You know we do.
Oh, yeah. Logan was really good.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yes.
should see Logan.
You should absolutely see Logan.
Maybe not bring kids.
Definitely do not bring kids.
I mean,
unless you're
teenagers or something.
Teenagers is fine, but like
Yeah.
5, 6-year-olds, they don't need to see that.
No.
They don't need to know that could happen.
gratuitous violence and lots of swearing,
It is a hard R.
which fit in very well with us.
Yes.
How many there was at least 2 specific heads carried in that movie.
Yes.
I only remember the one.
There was two heads.
Spoiling everything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go into details about
All
the
I
one
know
remember,
is that
but
the claws and people's faces, intimate friends.
Yeah. The one thing I could have used more of in that movie is just like when he slashes someone across the chest, like show like that he has ripped their whole chest out of their body. I mean, it wasn't graphic enough.
Yeah.
I needed like Dead Alive levels of here's a lawnmower going down on a zombie.
see, I feel like I had enough of Zach like sitting next to me going like,
Oh man. There was so much of that in that movie because
Yeah.
like, oh Jesus Christ.
It reminded me of The Raid. Those very visceral.
I have not seen The Raid.
You should.
But I have seen Dread.
The Raid's worse.
The Raid is worse.
Yeah, I've heard it's very good.
At one point, takes a knife into the top of the thigh, and then just drags it down the leg.
Okay.
Yeah.
kind of stuff that makes you just cringe when you
Yes.
think about it. But
Yeah.
but
That's a lot of that movie.
Yeah.
It's just like,
But I know one of our listeners doesn't like hearing about this stuff, so feel free to. No, Andrew.
the
Kaiser?
Yeah.
Violence movies? Movie violence?
Just like gratuitous violence.
There. That's Logan, gratuitous violence.
I didn't feel like it was gratuitous. Like they didn't go
was
like it was accurate for what Wolverine is supposed to be able to do.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
feel
good
like
at what he does.
like
The best at
I
what he
think if
does.
it had been like what you were asking for, where it showed when he drags his claw across the chest, it completely rips their chest cavity out.
And you see like a
That
beam.
would
could
be
have used
gratuitous.
at least one gratuitous violence. Like,
There was some.
There were heads removed and carried around.
yeah, but not enough like arms going off. I guess.
Again, several times. Legs, lots of dismemberment.
I could have used more gratuitous violence. Is what I'm trying to say.
All right, well.
The girl did a great job.
Yep.
I actually was really impressed with both Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
Their portrayal of a much older version of their like normal characters.
Yeah, like you did they did a great job with that because I was just like, God, I mean, because in my mind I was like, I mean, he is getting up there, and then
Well, it was funny, like when they first announced Logan was coming out, like a year ago or whatever.
Uh-huh.
My brother and I were texting about it, and he was like, "Dude, how long are they going to be able to make Wolverine movies like with Hugh Jackman getting so old?" And like, so it was good that this one, like, they embraced like he's getting older. Like this is an old Wolverine. So
Yep.
Someone had calculated how old he
200 and some years.
it was
he's
Cinefix
196 years old
physically.
but because of Days of Future Past and where he had gone and lived another 50% of a life before it was reset and he kept his memories, mentally he was 252 years old.
Yes,
And
And
he
had seen all of his friends die twice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where the movie starts.
really explains a lot of his attitude in that movie.
But yeah, it was a great movie.
Fantastic movie.
If it looks appealing to you, it's great.
Yeah.
And
Definitely one of the 2 best movies I've seen this year.
It is
Well, it's only March, so.
I know, but it's still that and Get Out were fantastic
I
movies.
still need to go see Get Out. I'm real bummed that
you
left
should
that
definitely
out.
see that. Well, yeah.
It's okay. Anyway, this and Deadpool are both. I'm really glad that Fox has done 2 good R-rated superhero movies, despite both being R-rated and hard R's.
Yes.
They have such drastically different tones.
Yeah.
And then the other comment that I want to make about Logan before we move on, the thing that I loved about it, and I hope that superhero movies across the genre take away from it, like this one, I don't want to go into spoilers or anything, but like the stakes felt so much more personal in this one than they have in so many other superhero movies.
They weren't saving the world.
I saw one post that was basically like, there's no giant world laser 0 out of
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, definitely
Skybeam.
personal stakes. And also, I think it helped that, like Captain America Winter Soldier, it was a movie with superheroes in it versus a superhero movie.
Yes.
That really helps it. So
Yeah.
It's real good.
I'd like to think that with Winter Soldier, Daredevil, and Wolverine all being so good recently, and even Doctor Strange I thought was pretty good.
Yes.
It got a little bit world-savvy. It got a lot world-savvy.
Very much so.
the way
Overall, though, I
won't say.
feel like, superhero movies continue to be good over at least Marvel and Fox's X-Men work.
And I mean,
Recently.
DC, step up your game.
yeah, well,
We'll see. Wonder Woman comes out next.
yeah.
For them.
Anyway, so
Anyway.
Board games.
that is our requisite 5 minutes of not talking at all about board games.
Yes.
So,
Wait, there's plenty of Marvel board games.
That's
I'm
true.
not sure there's a Wolverine one.
There's Wolverine is in a lot of games.
He is
he's in a lot of games. but
in card form.
yeah. Anyway, so have any of you played a
Hero
Marvel game
Clicks as
recently?
well.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did any of you play a Marvel game recently?
No.
Recently, no.
All right, then what have you played recently?
That's a loaded question.
So we played Jump Drive.
Yeah.
Because I got Gloomhaven. So came with its requisite Jump Drive to put it over free shipping.
So yeah, this is by was it Tom Lehman?
Tom Lehman, yeah.
Yeah, the same guy that did Race for the Galaxy and Roll for the Galaxy. This is supposed to be like an intro to the world of Race for the Galaxy. Although I will say this one feels a lot more like a race than Race for a Galaxy
Yes. Because you are in a race to get to 40 points?
50 points.
50 points.
So it has the same sort of structure in the sense that you can either develop cards, or develop developments or settle settlements.
Or both.
Or both, but if you do both, then you don't get a bonus.
Discounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all about after you lay down the cards, then cards just either give you money or victory points. And money is cards, obviously. But it was crazy how fast this game ramped up. I think maybe 7 rounds.
Yeah.
And it was like the first round we were like 1, 2 points, and then the 7th round David was like 30 points.
But like in Race for the Galaxy, where you put down which, what do they call them?
Like the phases.
The phase cards or whatever. You put them face down and be like, oh, okay, is everyone ready? And then you're like, and then you flip over, it's like, okay, I'm doing develop, settle, consume. This one, it's just you're actually putting down the developments or the settlements or 2 cards and then flipping them to be like, oh, I'm doing a development, oh, I'm doing a settlement. But it's very much, you're not really playing against each other at all.
There's a few cards that reference what other people have.
Yep.
But otherwise, it's mainly just...
So you said you can do a development, a settlement, or you can put 2 cards out. Can those 2 cards be
Nope.
a mix?
No.
Yes, it has to be a mix.
Yes, it has to be a
Okay.
develop and
So
a
if
settlement.
you see somebody putting out 2, they're doing a development and a settlement.
Yes.
Okay.
But what they do does not matter to you or what you can
Interesting.
do.
So I can see why some people are saying this isn't actually a great learning game for how to play Race for the Galaxy because it doesn't have that same phase selection
No.
quite like not Puerto Rico, San Juan.
San Juan, yeah.
But I could see how this will let you go into race without the madness of like, oh God.
Yeah.
You can see what a development is. You know what a settlement is.
It
and
gets
it's
you
all the-
used to spending cards as money as
Uses
well.
a lot of the same iconography.
Yes.
Exactly. All the same art.
Although no one used the explore, because technically you can explore too. You have these tokens that you're like, you get to draw a certain amount of
get
cards and you
3
keep 2 of them.
Plus how many of the explore icons you have on things you've played.
Yeah.
And then -3 or something.
Yeah, no, it's just you basically get to keep 2 of them.
Yeah.
You draw however
whatever
many
it is, it's
you keep
-2.
2.
Yeah, keep 2.
But no one did that the entire time.
Gotcha.
So I think the thing that saved this game was that it was like 15 minutes long.
Yep. Very short.
It's really short, so you play it and you're like, okay, well that felt like it took about as long as it should because it's definitely not a deep game at all.
And that was a 4-player game you guys were playing,
Yes.
right? I don't remember what I was doing, but I saw you guys playing it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and 2 people, one person had never played Race for the Galaxy at all, wanted to play it once.
Okay.
And they were able to get it really easily.
Right
So,
on.
Yeah. I'll probably try it again some more. I don't know if I just want to play it. Just
Yeah.
to try it. Not that I need to play race anytime soon. But
Yep.
Yeah.
all right. Anything else you guys played?
Played some 3 Dragon Ante. Have we talked about 3 Dragon Ante at all? The dragon poker.
From D&D, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Ant loves this game. Paul apparently
it.
hated it.
Because it got compared to poker.
Yeah, and Paul really likes poker.
You
He's
used
like,
to play semi-professionally, professionally?
Three Dragon Ante. It's all numbers games, and then you've got your dragon flights and good and evil dragons. And this is a game that you can actually play in third edition D&D campaigns. Like your party can sit around a table and use your skills and stuff like that to affect the game. But you have the ante and bids and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's kind of hard to explain without taking 20 minutes to explain a game.
Yeah.
It almost takes longer to explain than it does to play.
Yeah, because it's you're just playing off the number 1 to 13 of the person in front of you, and if you play a lower number, the special ability on the dragon you play activates, which can be taking money out of the middle or taking cards from other people, or depending on your dragon. And then it's all the third edition dragons, and they're cool.
Yes.
It's a fun little game. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I did not win.
I almost never win at that
Yeah.
game, but
I
I do still
have
kinda
not
like
won
it.
either.
I think Andrew may have won.
I think so, yeah. No, yeah. I enjoyed that game, though. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
Right on.
I am the only other person Ant knows that owns that game.
I have the...
It was super obscure. when
Yeah,
it
I
came
have
out.
the Emperor's Gambit one.
The reprint, I
Yeah,
guess?
sort of, yeah. Standalone expansion thing.
I haven't seen it. I should look at that sometime.
It's, according to Ant, it's not nearly as good.
Okay.
So,
That's what I've heard as well.
Played the Grizzled with the expansion on normal difficulty with traps, and we totally won.
yes, you
I don't
did.
believe you.
Yep.
Although it didn't really help because Nick was not as cooperative as he
It's
wanted.
not as cooperative as you should be in a cooperative game.
Which Nick, Lavolo?
Yeah.
He strategically withdrawed to put a card on the top of the deck or something.
No, he gave a card. He had to give a card to David.
Oh, that's right. Everyone could give cards away, and then he gave him a really bad card.
The worst card in the
The worst card in the game.
The worst threat card.
That had all 6. And then and then the next person had tyrannical. David was the only one with a speech, and speeches don't work on yourself. So he couldn't play the card out of his hand at all.
Because people had traumas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was
And so Nick gave him that card so he couldn't play it.
because he gave him bad advice or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
Dick move. We still won.
They did.
And we played with the German promos, which I didn't know existed. So you just played as like German dudes.
Instead of French
And then
dudes.
even the little monument changes to all the German guys' names.
Huh.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to look those up.
Right on.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys played?
I played another entire campaign of Arkham LCG with David.
Okay.
We did way better than you guys.
Sounds
and did
like it.
Even way better than what I had done with CJ.
Did it help you having played before so you kind of knew what to look for? Or
I couldn't remember most of what things specifically were. I knew the major themes, but
Right.
what does that location have on it? I don't remember what that location does. And I tried a new character, totally new character. Used the purple cards, used spells.
How were those?
Spells are good. Spells will screw people up real good. And my
That's good.
person had an ability where if you take a horror, you can do a damage to a monster in your location.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then she had a bunch of abilities that would just let her take horror and do that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Spells had charges, kind of like ammo and guns.
Gotcha.
Except you disintegrate people instead of shoot them. The Arkham way.
Clearly.
Clearly.
Right on.
Yeah, we played one more thing too. And that
I
was-
don't know. What? We played
What?
another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's let Adrian talk now.
That'll wrap up. So at game night, I only played one game. I taught a 6-player game of Dragon and Flagon. It kind of drug on, and for the second game in a row, multiple people thought the Druid was OP. Which, yeah, I mean the Druid's OP if everybody ignores the Druid and lets the Druid just blast the table over and over again.
Yeah.
So are you shooting a table, or you're on a table shooting?
The Druid has a card ability called Living Wood, and basically, if you are facing or on top of a table, you can play Living Wood, and you zap it, and you get, I believe, 2 from everybody that is currently on top of a table, 2 reputation from everybody on top of a table.
Okay.
And then if you're boasting, you get an additional 2 from everybody. So you can potentially get 4 from everyone. And in both games, that's what happened. The Druid jumped on the table, like with their first move, boasted with their second move, and then did Living Wood with their third move and pulled down like 20 odd reputation. Like,
yeah,
right
that just
away.
seems
Because
like
everyone else was just on it, but it's only if other people are on tables.
Yeah.
It's everybody else. You take it from everybody else who's on a table. So like if there's nobody on the table, you just wasted your turn and nothing happens.
Just don't get on a fucking table.
Well, there's a lot of powerful reasons. Like you have
Okay.
to be on a table to boast,
Okay.
which boasting is typically a good thing. And then like some really powerful actions like swing and stuff. You
Can
have
I just
to be on a table.
walk over to your table and push you off the table?
You can
Yeah.
push the table and the person will fall off, or if the table's on a rug, you can yank the rug and the person will fall down. There's a bunch of ways to counter it. Like just
Just
for
no
whatever
one
reason,
knew.
nobody quite was.
Okay.
Like this time, the druid got after she got on the table and did it the first time. Like something happened and she did get knocked off, but then she stood up right next to the table, but like on the opposite side from everybody, and just kept like every few turns zapping the table, and would still get 2 or 3 people who had climbed back up. Like, oh, now's clearly a good time. And then it was. Yeah, nobody. It was like the druid has like 60 freaking reputation.
Would have been
We
a
need to go
clearly good
after the
time to
druid.
walk over to the druid and punch the druid in the
Yeah,
face.
throw
Yes.
mugs at them, throw chairs at them, throw
Yes.
a table at them.
Yes.
Okay.
That seems like a group problem.
Yes.
In that sense of
In both games, it was a group problem.
Yeah.
The one game, I was the druid, so I was totally okay with it. The other game, I was trying to get across the room to the druid, and the stupid pirate kept shooting me in the face and doing
you
other
do have
things
a
to
very
hinder me.
shootable face. I'll give
Yeah,
him that.
yeah, yep, absolutely.
Super
I agree.
shootable face.
I would shoot that face.
So that was Dragon and Flagon.
Okay.
I want to play that game. It sounds really fun.
I do
Yeah.
enjoy it.
I do too.
Then Megan came into town this weekend to help me celebrate my birthday, which is technically tomorrow. Yesterday, for those of you listening.
Tomorrow for the 2 other people at this table.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Zero people that care.
So she was. Wow, thanks, guys. So she came into town, and so Saturday we went up to Edward and Amanda's house, the little heavy cardboard meetup, and I didn't really get to hang out. We were a little bit running behind, and so Edward and them had already started to do their live stream of Solarius Mission, which apparently has a really terrible rule book, but is actually a pretty fun game.
Sure. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. From what it's a 4X, but without the exterminate option,
Yes.
Jeff. So that's not. It looks like a totally. I'm doing my own thing and you're doing your own thing. So.
But anyway, they were already doing their live stream of that, which Heavy Cardboard, for those of you who don't know, has been doing a whole lot of live streams lately.
which is really good on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
and-
teaching too, right?
Yes, so Edward does a teaching, and then they do a full live stream of the gameplay, and then they do kind of a round the table discussion of the game afterwards. I've gotten one of them live after I got done editing, and then the other couple of them I've watched afterwards, and they really do a good job. Edward's a pretty good teacher, and I love the games that they're playing, so
The heaviest of cardboard.
I wish that we could have stayed up there all day Saturday, because in the evening they did a live teaching and play of the Colonists, which I would have loved to have jumped in on, but Megan and I had other plans. Anyway, games I was playing, played Feast for Odin again. They are going to be reviewing that this upcoming week, I believe, and so Amanda wanted to get one more play in. I wanted to teach Megan, and then a 4th player jumped in.
Did she like it?
Megan did like it.
Did she crush all of you?
She did not.
Okay.
I dominated. Like I
Destroyed.
almost doubled the 2nd player score.
That's it.
That sounds familiar.
Do
Yeah.
you remember the score?
I had 120 something.
Nice.
Let's see, I can pull it up here just real quick. So the final scores were I had 126. 2nd place was 71.
Oof.
3rd place was 69, and 4th place was 43.
69-71, though. That was close.
Yes.
Middle of
Megan
the
was
game.
third, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
I continue to really like Feast for Odin. It is now official in my mind. It's either a 1-player game or it is a 4-player game. There is no middle ground for me. And
I think 4 players would be way too much. There's still too much in that game.
it takes a little bit longer because
I like
there's
that game at 2 or 3.
2. There's 2 and well, 2 especially. There's nowhere near enough player interaction. You almost never block each other. There's too many other available options. 3, you're getting tighter, but 4, I think, is I'd prefer
Super
to 4.
tight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about super tight. Not as tight as 1 player, but whatever. Afterwards, Megan and I were heading out, and so Edward took a break from the live stream to come out and say goodbye to us. And he posed what I thought was a very interesting question. And I'm curious what you guys' thoughts on this are. So although they have grown to like Feast for Odin more as they have played it, they don't consider it really like one of the best games of 2016, despite being kind of a heavier Euro game. Whereas the Colonists, they love that game, and I think it's definitely a qualifier for one of the best heavy games of the year.
What's the
All of
question?
that. So what makes Colonists so much better than Feast for Odin?
I don't know.
Or do you think that Colonists is so much
I haven't
better than
played
I
Feast
would
for Odin?
say
Nor have I,
Oh, you haven't played Colonists.
I haven't played Colonists. I haven't seen Colonists.
I think the variable setup of the main board can play a lot into that.
Okay.
Maybe because Feast for Odin, it's
Same board every time.
yeah, it's the same board every
the same
time.
main board.
Yeah,
I think that combined with the way you do action, instead of action selection, you're doing like worker movement instead of worker
yeah.
placement. So depending on the layout, you have to formulate different strategies to move your worker around and do different actions.
and you can really fuck over people by blocking, like getting in spots.
Exactly. In Feast for Odin, the blocking is just, I'm here, now you can't be.
But
in
sorry.
Colonists, when you block somebody, it forces another decision. Is it worth it to pay the penalty to go there?
And you're paying them
Yes.
versus just like extra.
And then not only do you block that spot, but depending on where it is and what tiles are around it, you might block the only path to like 3 or 4 good tiles. So I think that the interaction, although there's not a lot of it, when there is, it's very denial-esque, more so than Feast for Odin.
Yeah, I also think it looks better too. So that gives
Fair
it
enough.
a plus.
Yeah, so those were some of my main thoughts on it. I think it is kind of an interesting question that two games that are so similar in broad strokes, you know, the devil's in the details. And when you really get down to the details, one is in my opinion, one is a really good game, one is a great game. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I've only played the great game.
Yeah, sure. You haven't. But and
Because
then
Feast for Odin's the great one.
and then as we were leaving, we got the joke, Jeff.
What?
Zach didn't. And then as we were leaving, Edward.
Now I get it.
Edward congratulated me again on the show. Says he has enjoyed listening to us and everything. He said maybe doesn't enjoy Arkham Horror LCG, but he does enjoy the show. So
Yeah. Well,
It's his fault.
totally fair. Jeff is just
Not every game is
permanently
for
been
everybody, so-
uninvited to-
Just burning every bridge as possible. That's my real. That's
do you
my.
want to talk about train games?
You know what? That's that's my secret objective. Get as popular as possible while burning all bridges.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But no, I had a good time up there, and then just dicked around the rest of the weekend with Megan. Didn't really get to play many more games. I wanted to, but she was kind of gamed out after a 3-4 hour game of Feast for Odin, learning game of Feast for Odin.
Yeah.
And so then she left early Sunday morning, and we met up and played some games. We knocked out the Gallerist, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Indeed.
And then the final game for the What Have We Been Playing, we finally got the behemoth box of Jeffs to the table. We played Gloomhaven.
We sure did. Well, first we played the organization game.
Because you were just like, oh, let's just throw it all in a target bag first and then dump it out. And
On the middle of the table. Like,
Yeah.
here you go, guys. Organize this
Yep.
for me.
I didn't have any Plano boxes, and then I bought Plano boxes, and now it's all in Plano boxes. So, hooray.
Hopefully it will set up much, much faster next
Yep.
time.
yes, it should.
Yeah. There's a lot in that game.
Holy shit, there is.
So we played the first scenario with our group. We did a city event,
Yes.
and we did a road event, and then
Which are basically just like choices.
like crossroads cards.
Yes.
and-
Yes, the crossroad cards are a good way to describe them. If
Yeah.
you've played Dead of Winter, they're
Yeah.
like those. You draw them, there's a choice, you make the choice, and then maybe it works out well.
depending
maybe it
on which
doesn't.
characters you're using.
Yeah. And so apparently, according to Adrian, it made us a bunch of murder hobos.
That card never said we untied that poor merchant.
We what?
No.
That it never said we untied him. We tied him up,
untied.
we took his stuff, and then we left. So we left him.
What are you just
tied
going to
and
go over there and like
abandoned.
untie him real quick and just run?
Yeah.
Like
Come on, Adrian.
Right, so we left him to die. In
You
the
don't know
woods.
that. He's on a...
he's on a main road.
Yeah,
We
he's on
found
a main
him. Someone
road.
else will find him. Maybe it's a bear. I don't know. Maybe he'll be way too friendly with that bear too.
Yep. So basically, this game is...
Do you see what you've done to us, Isaac Childress?
it's basically a dungeon smash
Yeah.
with Euro elements because there are no dice.
Nope.
in
No,
this.
which is a huge plus for me.
It's like it's a D&D combat scenario
Yep.
where we have I like the combat abilities. They're all a bunch of different unique decks of cards
Yes.
for your character. There's tops and bottoms to them.
Well, and what's nice too is it's not like warrior, paladin, priest.
Very unique.
I'm a mind thief. I steal your minds.
You're a rat person.
I'm a rat person who steals people's minds and can make people attack.
I'm-
It's like the Mesmer from Guild Wars.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a tinkerer. I make little gadgets and contraptions and heal people.
My dude is from a golem race that is like elemental airbender kind of people, but they're really brutal and warlike. And I'm a guy that couldn't master any other elements besides earth, and so they cut my heart out into a giant scar and sent me out and exiled me. But I can still use earth power because they're earth golem people. And so I'm a Cragheart.
Well then.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Got dark in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so, I wanted to murder that man.
Yeah,
on the road.
so we've got a heartless golem. We've got a mind thief, which, I mean, you can tell that that's an upstanding individual.
Yes.
And then Ant is the rogue.
No, scoundrel.
Scoundrel. Even worse.
Human scoundrel.
Human
Looks a lot like an elf.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a lowly helper, tinkerer person who somehow got caught up with this band of murder hobos.
So there's 6 characters you can choose from at the beginning out of like 15 total.
Probably,
All
yeah.
with their own envelopes of cards and actions and
minis and stuff like that.
miniatures. And there's an epic amount of cards in this game.
Correct.
They are all numbered, and I think the item deck went into the high 900s
Yep.
for the numbered of cards.
Yeah, lots of stuff in this game. So
We played the first scenario for about 2.5, 3 hours?
2.5 sounds about right.
2.5 hours?
Yeah.
It was 3 rooms and a smidge under 20 monsters.
Yeah. And it is a hard game.
This game is brutal.
We just played on normal and
There's an easy, a hard, and an extra hard.
yes, and I could not imagine playing extra hard.
we ended up winning on the last possible turn we could have.
Yes, and only one person was not exhausted.
Yep.
So
And the only reason we won is because they got real good combat cards.
they did. But I like how it has like a because you have a bunch of cards that you're playing, and initiative is based on the cards and stuff like that. But I really like how like the cards can keep coming back, but the cards are actually sort of a timer too, because you have to get rid of them. Sometimes some of them have like one-time use things, and when you're resting, you have to get rid of a card. And so if you don't have enough cards, you've exhausted.
Yeah.
Which means defeated.
Yes, and so there you have that sense of urgency of I have 5 cards left. I'm almost done. We
Yeah.
need to finish this soon. So
Yeah. And it was pretty great because as we went around the table, like getting closer and closer to exhaustion, like Jeff was the first guy who's like, well, I'm going to be exhausted after this turn. So I'm going to run ahead and like throw myself on this trap to clear a path.
Yeah.
And then like Zach was up next. And he's like, all right, I'm going to run ahead of you guys so the archers all shoot me.
Yep.
And then like I made a little decoy guy who got shot a whole bunch, and then I ran and got shot a whole bunch so that Ant could go in and like get up against the archers
and kill
finish the
exactly
last
what he
ones
needed
off.
to kill.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. This is a game that you need to go into knowing it's brutal and detailed, and that you're going to be doing this one scenario for like 2+ hours.
Yeah.
And there are 95 different scenarios in this game.
And it's going to take you at least 2 hours to organize, even with help. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like we were there at Ant's house for 5.5 hours total, organizing, learning, and playing.
yeah. Have some people watch like a video or something
Yeah.
beforehand. That would help.
Yep.
Or like, so the rule book says like the first time through it, like just walks you through the first scenario a little bit, but you can play it like not part of the campaign. Like you just set up that board and you play through, and it teaches you the combat and everything as you play. So maybe do that. Like I kind of wish we had done that instead of starting the campaign. So instead of having to worry about stickering the main board and solving like the city and road events, we could have just set up that one, learn some basics, and then that way after we did the first room or whatever, we could have been like, all right, we have a good idea of how this game is playing. Now we can maybe be done at a reasonable hour on a
Yeah.
Sunday night and
Meh.
come back to the campaign later and start the campaign knowing how to play. So your first few turns, you don't make a rat swarm that's just going to not ever do anything.
Yeah. Well,
in the
you know
corner.
what? Learn through failure, and we won. So
We did. So Adrian is clearly wrong.
Yes, clearly.
We got lucky.
You know what? That's fine. Luck is that's what makes luck great. Is you're just like it's improbable, but it's just right on your side. It's because it wasn't a 50-50 chance that we did great.
Yeah. So that was our first play of Gloomhaven. We're going to
Definitely positive right now
yes.
for me.
There's a lot more to this game. I also like that you were supposed to discard all of the city and road cards
Yeah.
So you only ever see those events once.
Which is cool, yeah.
So this is very much a legacy type game where there's disposable parts and things like that.
Yeah.
They're savable, but...
And I ripped them up like you wanted, so...
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you make sure to sneak into my room while I was at work?
Did you see ashes anywhere? I ripped it up and then I burned them.
We should find an incinerator for the cards.
Jesus, that's not going to go wrong.
Wes would cringe hard. Wes, you put this into the incinerator.
Burn it, Wes. Burn it.
Yep.
Yeah. So overall, I feel positive on it. I am curious to see for me to want to keep playing this game in the long term and really explore everything it has to offer. The play times are going to have to go way down. Like if it's running 2.5, 3 hours every time, there's other games I'd rather play. It's the same reason I didn't do a D&D. Like I'd love to be in a D&D campaign right now. I don't have that kind of time to dedicate to.
Yeah, and I think that's what this game's going to run into. You're playing a paper pencil without the paper pencil
Or dice, yeah.
or dice, and you're doing, but much more combat oriented.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that as we get used to how combat and everything works, that we can really
The combat
speed these
scenarios go
scenarios
faster.
along.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of times where like, oh, well, what do we do in this situation?
But you're invisible and count as an obstacle, but he can see you and you're less hexes away, but
Yeah.
he has to go around farther.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could easily see later on having a scenario that's like 10 tiles instead of 3, and a lot more happens. So we'll see.
Yes.
Initially, I am overall feeling positive on it though, and if we can get the play times down to like 2 hours, being a longer game of it, then I think I'll feel pretty good.
Yeah. And a lot of those ability cards are pretty gibberish the first time you play.
Yes.
That they're
Oh,
much
yeah.
more clear by the end of the first game.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that wraps up what we've been playing,
Yeah.
and let's get on to some news and Kickstarter, shall we?
So going into news and Kickstarters, we're going to start with Kickstarters
And then the news.
and then news. First Kickstarter up. There's not a ton of Kickstarters, but that Munchkin Shakespeare, it did really well. 722% of its original goal.
Sounds about right.
It's still going until March 10th. It's about $20, I think. I saw they had a backer for like signed copies, that if you backed within the first 24 hours, you could get your copy signed by Steve Jackson,
Nice.
which 464 people are going to get signed copies.
There you go.
His hands are going to be tired.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah. Maybe just the one. I mean, he probably doesn't sign with multiple hands.
I mean, you never know.
That'd be pretty cool.
He's just signing 2 at one time.
Maybe he uses both hands to do one signature.
He just needs,
I don't
he
know.
just needed to get one of those pens that has the 3 colors on it, and then you just do it like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
Like, whatever, 6th grade.
Yes.
I'm not surprised that this has super successfully funded. Turns out that despite our personal feelings on Munchkin, a lot of people like it. So,
We all liked it at one point, so
It's true.
this is true.
Munchkin Zombies.
Yes.
That one ends March 10th, in case you need another copy of Munchkin. Food Truck Champion, they are ending March 15th. They're at 200%, funded $32K on a $15K goal. How did you best describe this one?
So this is a lighter, maybe, re-theme of Glory to Rome, kind of. Not necessarily a re-theme.
inspired by.
It's supposed to be similar to Glory to Rome. A little bit more family-friendly. I think that means more like in terms of mechanics, it's a little bit maybe lighter than Glory to Rome.
Less Romans, more food trucks.
Multi-use
Yes.
cards, which I'm a big fan of.
Art looks good. I like it.
Looks like food trucks.
Yep. Yeah, you're all competing food trucks. I like some of the names of said food trucks. Bear Burgers.
So the base pledge to get a copy of the game is only $20, so it's pretty inexpensive. For $10, you can get access to the full art, full res print and play. So if you are into print and playing, you can save $10, and probably shipping. I don't know if shipping's included on this one.
Not usually.
But yeah. So then the last one we're going to talk about. So this one is a new game up on Kickstarter from Greater Than Games. And they've had a lot of successful Kickstarters, and they've put out a lot of successful games. And that makes me a little sad because it looks like this one might not succeed. It is Dubai Rebuild the Ruins. They are currently just under 12,000 of a 50,000 goal with 18 days to go. Gameplay looks to be somewhat interesting. It's tile laying, and you're kind of building up rebuilding Dubai from the ruins of this desert that has taken it over after a World War type cataclysm. It's got unique factions, have unique abilities and things, and they have what they are calling worker rotation as a primary mechanic. So they have 3 different wheels where you can place your workers, and essentially you place your worker on the end, and then everybody who's on that wheel, depending on which wheel it is, like one wheel, everybody, you get to do an action for every pawn you have on that wheel, and then the last pawn comes off, and it's now that person's turn.
Is that kind of like Tzolk'in, sort of?
Similar,
Okay.
I think.
Probably not as crazy.
Yeah. With the other wheel, you use your pawns like to bid. So if you have got 3 pawns, you can bid up to 3. And same thing, whoever's the last one on there, if that's the one where the player chooses, then whoever's last, they get to take their guy off and place it somewhere else. And then the final one is just every player who's on that, regardless of the number of people, gets to take that action. So
Sounds interesting.
yeah, the mechanic behind that, it seems cool in practice, but like I said, I don't know if this game's actually going to fund. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and if it's close, I'll definitely jump on to try and push it over, and we'll see.
It just reminds me of Spec Ops: The Line. Hopefully less craziness.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe.
Yep.
Willie Pete.
Yeah.
And then if we did our show one day later, we'd have an awesome new Kickstarter to talk about.
I mean, we can talk about it, and it's now, but
We don't.
we don't know any specifics, so to speak.
So, yeah. Rising Sun debuts tomorrow.
/ yesterday.
Yes.
/ yesterday. Tomorrow for us, yesterday for you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
By the time you hear this, it will have
The world
done
would have had-
gangbusters.
The world would have ended due to
Yes.
everyone spending all of their money on Rising Sun add-ons.
Yes.
Correct. So,
How do you guys think it's going to do?
I mean,
Like-
it's...
I think it'll hit its goal after the first week or so, but I'm not sure.
What's the over-under here on funding?
What like
take some bets on this?
99. I don't. What's infinity?
10,
like
10 minutes?
Yes.
Funded in 10
something like
minutes.
that. So hopefully I would have gotten an early backer or early bird of it.
Nope.
We'll see.
Nope.
No, I've
I
got...
doubt
What?
Do you have a fucking alarm set or something?
Yeah, at work. I have a
Okay.
computer. I just don't work
It's
during
only-
this.
the only reason it's not going to fund faster than 10 minutes is because the site crashed and people
Yes.
couldn't jam money into it fast enough.
Pretty much, yeah. So obviously it's going to be more successful than Blood Rage, which
Yes.
did like 700,000, 800,000. Do you think it will get towards like Zombicide level or Massive Darkness level?
Original Zombicide level, sure. Like, I could see it topping 1 million. Like,
Okay.
original Zombicide got a little over 1 million.
It will be no Kingdom Death Monster Killer.
Well, I'm not expecting that.
Well, especially because it's not going to have a $1,600 pledge level that people are going to line up to pledge.
I don't know how many copies people need.
I think that there is a ton of hype around this
Very
game.
much so.
I would not be surprised for it to get 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Bold.
Okay. I would say it will get multiple millions as well.
It's definitively getting over 1. Like, I don't think there's any doubt that it's going to get over.
Do you think
1.
it'll get over? Do you think it?
I think it will get close to 2.
Okay. All right.
It might go over, but I don't think it's going to get to 2.5. Seems
It depends on how many of
large.
those add-ons they do and whatever they like. This isn't a stretch goal you're going to get. This is going to be a stretch goal we unlock that you can pay $40
Okay.
for.
So I will say,
Yes. Which Cool Mini has been doing a lot more of recently.
Yeah.
if it gets a full 30 days, like Zombicide or Smog and all those, I think it'll get 2.5 because I think Blood Rage was like 20 days. If it's only 20 days, then I don't think it's going to get that high. But
That makes sense.
yeah,
Okay.
but it's something we're looking forward to. I'm looking forward to.
Yes. So
I look forward to Zach buying this game.
I look forward to playing Zach's copy and making a decision.
Yeah.
Then
It's
I look
just a
forward.
giant. It's just a punk. It'll be April 1st and be like, suckers, I didn't pledge it. Never get to play it.
and then you just have a sad face.
Because yeah, exactly. You'll be disappointed that you don't have it, and I'm sure like Greg and Kyle will get it and paint it up to look awesome. And I'd rather play their copy anyway. Zach, don't need you. But yeah, so we will have more updates on whether we were accurate or way off on the Rising Sun Kickstarter. If nothing else, I look forward to seeing how awesome the minis are for this game. The ones I've been seeing so far are already awesome.
Yeah.
I got to think they've got something they're holding in reserve. They're going to be like, boom, big guns. So looking forward to that.
Yeah,
On to the news portion of news and Kickstarter.
indeed. First up, Cottage Garden is getting its official North American release this June and will be coming from Stronghold Games.
Seems fair, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been picking up a lot of stuff recently. So,
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people like it, especially because it plays up to 4 players versus 2 for like patchwork.
Yeah.
Seems a little bit lighter, but like people that like gardening and stuff, like they've introduced it to family members.
Yeah.
And they've loved the crap out of it. So.
See, this is one, like, I don't know if I will personally super love it. I mean, it's an Uwe game, and I do tend to like a lot of Uwe's games, but in kind of the similar vein, I see this being a game like my mom and my grandma were really interested in Patchwork, but because it was only a 2-player game and I only had the 1 copy, like, you know, it seemed like one of them was always kind of watching. This one I've heard is a little bit lighter strategy-wise, too, than Patchwork.
It is, yeah.
Which I think would make it perfect for my family. So, like, being able to take that to, like, Thanksgiving and bust it out and have a bunch of people make a silly little garden, you know. And the artwork is fantastic on it. Like, I really like the way the boards and everything look when they're all laid out and played. So, I will likely pick this one up, I think, just to have it in my collection and continue owning most of Uwe's stuff.
Sounds
see.
about right, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I'll just play your copy.
there you go.
Yeah.
Nice how that works.
Next. Rumor is Battlestar Galactica from Fantasy Flight Games might be going away. They have removed it from their website, which means a really good game might disappear soon. I think New Angeles has been kind of their replacement for that.
I can see that, yeah.
But it's more of a like negotiation game than something like Battlestar. I really like Battlestar. It's a fun little hidden role.
Yeah, it's
game.
a fun
Trader
little game, yeah.
Zach, you don't seem very upset about the
no,
potential
I'm not.
loss of Battlestar Galactica.
No, what I get out of that game, I get the same out of like Secret Hitler or The Resistance, and it just takes too long for me, basically.
Yeah, I've only played it once, and it was like 3 years ago. So I remember having a vague amount of fun with it, but we were playing on a too small table in a too small apartment, like kneeling around a coffee table playing it, not even really having chairs. And so I don't know. I don't really remember much. Somebody got thrown out of an airlock, and ultimately Cylons destroyed the ship from
I know a lot of people
the outside.
love that game, so
Yes.
I'm sure they are sad, just not me personally.
I mean, that show's been off the air for a decade at this point.
Has it really been that long?
Probably 6 or 7 years
It's
at
probably
least.
way longer than you think.
I've never watched any of them, so
I think it's a good game that's suffering its intellectual property issues.
that's
Like Forbidden Stars,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff, yeah.
Yep.
Dune.
Dune.
Oh, you mean Rex?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be a bummer.
Yeah, so you know there'll be a mad rush on them where everybody snaps up every available copy, just like there was with all
Everything
of the other
40K
games
and
that were
Warhammer.
40K. Yep.
La Havre is getting a reprint
Yes.
like next week.
So March 16th is what is currently listed on Mayfair as the street date. You know, I don't know if that means that's actually going to be when it is widely available. You know, hopefully it won't be much longer after that because it is a fantastic game.
How long has that game been not widely available?
Oh man, it's been quite some time.
Like years? 3-4 years?
I mean, like, what's that website that tells you, like, the price history of different products? Because you could probably look up the price history of it on Amazon and watch it fucking spike when it became unavailable.
Yeah. How much was it going for on Amazon?
Hundreds of dollars.
Many hundreds of dollars.
I think that I don't know if I've quite seen it get over 2, but I know I've seen it for over 150.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know it was that crazy. But soon, probably available on some of those fancy websites and probably a smidge under $50.
Yeah, I would say so. The list price currently being $70. I don't know if CSI is taking pre-orders yet.
They are not.
They're not? Okay. It doesn't really look like they're going to be changing much. It's still going to play 1 to 5 players, so they're not doing like they did with Agricola, where they cut down the number of players or anything like that.
Well, the game takes like 3 hours no matter how many people are playing, so...
If it takes 3 hours, you're doing things wrong.
Then we are doing things wrong, because that's what every...
No, it's
playing
it's usually
La
about 3 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off. Well, joke's on you guys, because guess what we're reviewing next week?
What?
Havre.
Hooray!
In honor of the street date, we're going to get our review out so that if you're thinking about picking it up, you can listen to next week's episode and be like, oh, awesome. Adrian's right. Le Havre is totally an awesome game. Classic that needs to be owned. Or you can be like, well, maybe Zach has a point and it's 3 hours and I find it boring because I don't like Euros and I don't like art that is quality.
That doesn't make sense. You're not making any sense there, Adrian.
You don't like Le Havre's art?
Yeah, but you said quality. That's not...
It is quality art. I like Le Havre's art.
It is art, all right.
It is art, yeah.
There is colors and shapes, and that's about it. There's a lot of fish tokens.
So stay tuned next week for our review of it, and we will
Give you opinions
more details
on
and
fish tokens. There's fish tokens.
There are fish tokens.
Many, many fish tokens.
All right, I think we are done with this news and Kickstarter
Except for
shenanigans.
news. News is all over. It's all over now.
On to the review. So this week, we are going to be reviewing The Gallerist.
The Gallerist. It's a game.
It is a game indeed. So this game is a 2015 game from designer Vital Lacerda, published by Eagle Gryphon Games with art from Ian O'Toole. It plays 1 to 4 players and takes 60 to 150 minutes. Zach, do you got a rules rundown for us?
Yeah. So the Gallerist has you and your opponents running competing art galleries, vying for visitors. On your turn, you can move your worker into 4 different spaces, allowing you to do up to 8 different actions. You can go to the artist colony, discovering somebody new or buying a piece of art from someone established. At the sales office, you can grab a contract for a specific type of art and then sell it. The media center allows you to promote an artist or hire additional assistants. And the international market allows you to earn reputation and auction for renowned pieces of art. Before or after an action, you can do an executive action. You can use tickets to move visitors into your gallery or use a bonus from any contract cards you have. If your pawn goes into a location with someone else's pawn or assistant, they can spend influence to do a location action or an executive action for free. So running out of tickets, getting 2 artists to celebrity status, or running out of new visitors are all triggers for endgame. When any 2 happen, everyone takes 1 more turn and then goes through the endgame scoring. Whoever has the most money at the end wins.
All right, and that's The Gallerist. So,
All right, good. That's that. We're done.
And we're done here. All right. Email.
No, not even close.
My,
Not even close. I'm going to make you guys talk about it and like it. So let's start with kind of a new thing that we were wanting to work into our reviews. And we want to talk a little bit about what we thought first going into some of these games, especially in light of hype machines or preconceived notions about certain types of games, since we all like different stuff and things like that. So I'll kick this one off because this was my very first Vital Lacerda game. And I had at the time heard nothing but great things about all of Vital's games: Kanban, CO2, Vinhos, Gallerist. I really wanted to get the chance to play them, and I backed Lisboa on Kickstarter in December, and as the add-ons, I got Vinhos and Gallerist. And for whatever reason, I don't remember how we picked Gallerist over Vinhos. I think somebody said the theme sounded slightly more interesting to them, so we busted that one out. And holy shit, for me, like going in, I knew to expect a high-quality Euro game. Eagle Gryphon puts out some amazing games, component and quality-wise. Ian O'Toole's a fantastic artist. And so going into it, I was hoping for a pretty solid Euro that looked really good. I didn't know where it'd be on the greatness scale of things, but I had some pretty high expectations. So what about you, Zach? What were your thoughts going in?
So I had first heard of this game probably 2 years ago when it first came out. And I remember looking at it and just art-wise, I was like, oh, that's really cool looking. And it's an interesting enough theme. You're being an art gallery owner, and it's about buying art and selling art. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting enough. And so when you backed Lisboa and you got this one in Vinhos, I was like, oh, cool, I'll finally get to try it. And so I didn't have any super high. I had no idea who the creator was. I just was like, oh, that looks interesting. I'll try it. That's pretty much how I went into it. It was I didn't have anything high, but I also like, oh, this is a heavy euro, then I'm just gonna blah blah blah. I didn't have any of that. I was just like, I try and go into every game sort of level headed,
as neutral as possible. Yeah.
So that was looks interesting. I'll definitely want to try it. So,
which that was the thing I forgot to mention. I did remember when the Kickstarter was going around, and it was a point where I was traveling, and so I was aware of it, and I knew it was a big, fancy, beautiful game, and I barely got a glance at it, but I didn't ever have a chance to actually look into it enough to back it back then. So I missed the Kickstarter on it, and then it was really hard to find for a long time. So, Jeff, what were your thoughts going in?
I had no idea what this game was. The only thing I had known is you guys talking about it, and that Board Game Republic had a copy, and we wanted to go there and play it because it was hard to find.
Yes.
That's all I had.
And then he got his copy, and then you played it. That's all you knew, basically? Yep.
Right on. So, diving into this game a little bit here. Let's talk about the components.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, going into it, I knew that Eagle Griffin was known for doing some pretty awesome components, especially because this was a Kickstarter edition. So it had some Kickstarter bonus art and some additional components that aren't in the base game. It's like that little green action pawn for tracking the turn timer and stuff. Like real minor stuff that won't affect it if you don't get your Kickstarter version. But, going into this one, I was expecting that, and it delivered on all fronts there. The component quality of this is fantastic. The insert is wonderful. It makes it really easy to organize the game, helps with setup a lot, and comes that way. You don't have to spend $40 or $50 on a broken token.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Yeah.
All the cardboard is super nice, thick, dense, high quality cardboard.
Yes. The cardboard pieces are really nice. The art is, I would give anything less than like a 10 out of 10 for a game about being an art gallery. Like if the art was... If it was like Le Havre level art or something on this, then it would have been really disappointing.
Art design.
Yes, the art design on it is really great. All the pieces of art actually look good.
All original.
All original. They actually listed all the people.
Artists. Which are their actual works of art that if you, for some reason, really wanted to track down and buy, some of them
exist.
Might be available for purchase. I don't know.
Or prints and stuff.
Or prints. Just certainly prints. But the main board and everything, the box art is all from Ian O'Toole, who does a lot of stuff for Eagle Griffin and has worked on a lot of other VTOLs games. Ian O'Toole is a fantastic artist. He's rapidly getting up there. Another artist whose name that is at this point recognizable when I see it on a game, I'm like, oh, I know the artwork's going to be good, is Beth Sobel. She's really been doing some great art too. But her and Ian O'Toole are two that are like forefront in my mind. When I see the name, I know who it is and that I can expect quality art out of it.
It really reminded me of Portal.
What's
the art, like the not the Portal the game, but all the advertisements and stuff from Portal. It's all very minimalistic.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. That's it. Like the people at the gallery look a lot like that same art from like Portal.
Okay.
Portal commercials and things like that.
Yeah, I can see what you're talking about there, Jeff. Like one of the things I like is that the little like player your art gallery that's represented on the board is almost done like with exaggerated like lines on the corners and stuff. So it almost looks like a draft of an art gallery rather than the actual art gallery.
Yeah.
One of my favorite little minor art details is the painting tiles that you can purchase when they're in the purchase area, like they have all the things that you get when you buy them. But then when you take them, you get all that stuff and then you flip it over to put it in your gallery, and all of that stuff is removed. So it's just the piece of art in your gallery. And like your gallery has the 4 sections where you can put art, and it represents like there's 4 walls. And so if it's a painting, it's now a painting hanging on the wall. But like if it's a sculpture, then like it moves part of the wall away so it looks like the sculpture's sitting there. And so it modifies the way your gallery looks on the board based on what art you have in it. It's a totally minor detail that I probably would have never noticed if they hadn't did it. But because they did and I saw it, and it was like, holy shit, that's really pretty cool.
I always appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah.
There are little things where it makes it look like they actually took the design of the things that are going there into consideration.
Correct.
So
I would also highly recommend someone look at this game setup, like a picture.
Yes.
Because it looks awesome.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And where all of these actions have that nice balloon of like you go to the top one and then all of the stuff you can do is at the top. It's all very nicely set up on the board.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And this is a game with the exception of one thing, everything on this game and in this game has a place on the board. or on your player mat. And the only thing that doesn't have a specific place to put it is money.
Which is fine.
Which
Money
is really fine. You can just keep it in a pile to the side, especially because money is used for a lot of different things. So you're constantly getting some and putting some back. But everything else, there's very clear spaces where they go. Things on your player board have very clear spaces where they belong. Things on the board, very clear spaces where you put them and what they do. So it makes setup real easy, especially once you know what everything is. Then it's easy to just boom, 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 set it all up, and go.
The only knock I have against the components is that the meeples are kind of mutated.
The meeples are the worst meeples I've ever seen in a game.
They're a little rough.
Which, and this is a good example where, like, for me, I notice things that go above and beyond. If it weren't for the fact that everyone I have played with has commented on the quality of the meeples, they weren't something I ever noticed. Or
it was like immediate. As soon as I opened up the bag, I was like, "What is wrong with these meeples?" And you were just like, "What are you talking about?"
It's like
you didn't even notice that they were. And then I looked and I'm like,
"This one doesn't have the notch for the legs. It's like it's wearing a dress."
Yeah,
half of this one's head is gone.
Yes,
yeah.
and it's like tilted to the side, and it was just like, yeah.
This is a leper colony artist, leper artist colony.
No, yeah. Other like those are the only knocks I have to say, but it's like
it's so minor that it's nitpicking.
Yeah,
almost.
Once I got used to it, like they'll never be good. But I'm like, what? Okay, fine, I guess. But
they're unpaid interns. You don't need to worry about them.
Unpaid lepers.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Oh, geez. So rules and rule explanation. So. First of all, I am going to say if you are teaching someone new, so before you ever teach anybody, this is another game, somebody should really take the time to set up and go step by step through setup carefully, because there's things that, like, even in my fourth game, like, it was like, oh, I'm supposed to do this during setup? That changes everything.
Or, whenever you win the auction for the piece of renowned art, you also get money equal to whatever that highest thing is.
And so go step by step very clearly through the scoring. Like, the only reason I even noticed that one was because I got a scoring app that, like, tracks my plays and everything, and it had a column for scoring that. And I was like, why is that even a column? And I looked in the rule book again. I was like, oh, because that's actually now worth a lot of points.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more important to win that auction. But one thing that helped me immensely learning the game initially before I taught anyone, and then even teaching people, Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules has a 5-minute, very superficial intro to the Gallerist, where he just walks you through the main actions and the rough overview of what they do. Have somebody have your new players watch that for the 5 minutes that you're setting up the board, and use that as the basis to kind of like the 4 things he went, go touch on them and be like, here's the details that weren't in that video.
Yeah, he gives you about 70% of.
I think I watched that video. It was very helpful.
Yeah. You get a C, you get enough to pass basically,
Yeah.
and then you go, all right. Well, in this instance, you do this and this, and then I think there's 1 or 2 things he just doesn't touch on at all. But otherwise, it was for just 5 minutes. You're like, okay, I've got a rough overview of the game now.
Which is then where somebody who knows the game steps in and fills in the devil in the details that we mentioned earlier for something completely unrelated, but it's a good phrase. Devil's in the details. So you fill all that in and answer the questions and make sure they understand how things work in the minutia.
Yeah.
And then you can roll.
I didn't look into the you just taught us through that. I've maybe looked through the rules a little bit, but overall, it was, especially once you knew all the rules and stuff, then it wasn't too bad to learn. But otherwise, it's still. Did you look through that rule book trying to learn at all?
Oh yeah, I walked myself through a couple turns. I didn't play the solo game because the solo game plays too different, I think, from the base game to use that, play the solo game to learn the game. You can learn some of the mechanisms and stuff, but overall, I walked through, if there were 4 players and a couple little vague turns. And the nice thing the rules do is kind of the same thing that Paul Grogan does is, in this game, there's 4 main action spaces. And so you walk through them and explain in each of them you can do 2 things. So for explaining the rules, you're like, at this action space, you can do A or B. A does this, B does this. And then you go to this one and same thing for the 4 action spaces. So teaching that is there's not a lot to teach about what you can actually do on your turn. There's not huge complicated decisions. It's getting the little things like leaving behind a worker so that if somebody follows, they kick out your worker and you still get to take the action, and like, oh, you can do executive actions before and after and little things like that. But the main decisions you're making on your turn, it's easy to explain. Like, hey, you pick one of 4 spots and you go there. And then when you go to this one, you do these. So I don't think it's a very hard game to teach. No, I think it teaches pretty simply.
I don't think if it's your first time playing and you're playing against someone who knows what to do, this is not one of the games where you have a chance.
I mean, that's almost any
No, I know.
heavy Euro.
Yeah. No, I know. I just feel like it's definitely
It's worth stating.
It's worth stating that there is a strategy here that unless someone, I guess, helps you a little bit, you're probably going to find it like halfway through and then realize, oh, I should have been doing these things. Oh, contracts. You actually need contracts in order to sell something. So
they're not just for that extra action you can do.
Yeah, so you'll do a lot less wasted actions. So,
yep. But speaking of wasted actions, let's get on to the actual gameplay. So yeah, like I said, there's 4 main actions that you can do.
I know. So the first time we played, I felt like it took 3-ish hours, maybe a little bit longer. But then the last time that we played, it was under 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think once everybody knows how to play the game, it goes a lot quicker.
Yes.
There can still be some AP elements in this, obviously, but it's like you said, only having 4 spaces of which you can only do 2 things of those. And if you are at one space before your turn, when your turn starts, you can't go there. So it definitely helps. And it's like when you're going to you're buying a piece of art and now you want to either get a contract or sell that piece of art if you already had a contract. So there's definitely a flow to this game that that definitely helps in that respect, I think.
Yeah. Or you go buy a piece of art when it's cheap, go down, promote that artist so it raises the value. Then go
exactly.
And you typically have that idea, or should have that idea in your head. And that's where you were saying a new player is going to struggle because they're not going to fully understand the intricacies of like promoting an artist and then getting him boosted up and then selling the painting, or discovering an artist so that you can go back after he's boosted and buy a cheap painting from him. Some of those little strategies and things will be trickier for them, but. One thing I do like about the gameplay in this game in particular is it scales across multiple player counts. So the end game, it's triggered when 2 out of 3 things happen. And that's when all of the tickets run out, when all of the meeples are removed from the bag, or when 2 artists hit their top fame level.
Celebrity,
when they hit celebrity status. And so depending on whether you're playing with 2, 3, or 4 players, you take out 5, 10 tickets, depending, and you take out 2 to 4 of each color of meeple. So if you're playing a 2-player game, there's significantly less tickets and significantly less meeples in the bag. So the game goes much quicker with only 2 players. Whereas in a 4-player game, all the meeples, all the tickets are there, but there's 4 people who are taking them. So it's still, I feel like the game takes roughly the same amount of time, regardless of how many people you're playing.
Yeah, I can see that. I've only played it with 3 and 4 players, so I don't know 2 players how the difference is for that. But it felt similar with 3. I think it took a little bit longer with 4 players than it did with 3, but not like noticeably so.
Yeah,
it's mostly just Adrian's AP in the time difference.
As a side note, not even address AP. As a side note. This is
going to let it hang in the air like that.
Overwhelmingly considered best at 4 players.
Huh.
Like it's recommended across all player counts. But
I can see that
best is 4
because kick out actions are if you have your guys there, you're more and more you're going to get those a lot more often with 4 players. Almost every time you'll get someone will get some sort of kick out action, which I think that's also something that you just get from playing the game, is that you have to be able to prepare. Like, don't leave assistants and stuff to do kick out actions if like you don't have the influence to spend it or to spare for it rather, or you don't have the requisite visitors in your lobby, because to do certain things you have to have guys there that if you don't have anything, then it's I can't do anything at that spot anyway. So
or vice versa, don't forget that you've used all of your meeples and go to move from somewhere like the artist colony that's a prime spot to leave something and be like, oh, I can't leave a worker behind to catch that kick out, and now I have to leave and it's wide open.
Yes.
Because somebody's to be like, holy shit, the artist colony is wide open. Boom, I'm there. So
Yeah.
I think it does play overall really smooth, especially as you get a couple plays under your belt and things really start to make sense how the game progresses and what goals you're working towards. I think it smooths out pretty well, and it's a very accessible, heavy Euro.
I would agree with that, yeah. Because it's not like Feast of Odin with 61 spaces.
Exactly.
It's just like, I don't know what to do. This one, it's, like you said, it's 4
Buy,
spots and...
sell,
Exactly,
auction,
and there is a flow to what you want to do.
Facebook likes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah.
Brutal unpaid intern interview process.
Yeah, you just give them money and they come work for you.
No, you don't give them money and then
Yeah.
they work for you.
Well, you pay somebody.
Oh, yes.
So I also like how in the so on your main player board, you can only have 3 pieces of art at any time, unless one of them is celebrity status. So I like that. I like that they had that a lot because
It's a benefit to get that fame.
it's
up.
better to get it up because once he hits celebrity, you can't buy anything from him.
It's too expensive.
It's too yeah.
Well, he's famous.
Why would I sell your
So
stupid...
it's nice to get something cheaper and then be able to push them up, and then you're like, look, I've got this fancy one here, and then it allows you to get another piece of art.
Yes.
I like so that's. I noticed that the first time we played, we didn't really promote anybody, and then later on, we were like, oh,
Almost every game I play now,
Yeah.
people regularly promote.
yes, usually that too that gets you a bunch of influence.
Also,
Yeah.
if you are the person that pushes them into celebrity status, you just get an extra 5 points at the end of the game.
Yes, which is-
per celebrity you put.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And then also that you get 2 cards at the beginning. One is your gallery, and then one is the art that you sell, and you have goals to get.
So it helps kind of define, like, not necessarily your strategy about how you're going to get the art, because everybody's going for
all the art, basically.
that. But it helps decide, like, gives you a little bit of a lean towards, like, well, do I want to go for a sculpture or a painting? Do I want a digital art or a photo? Because you can look and be like, well, shit, I really need to sell 2 photos to fulfill this contract or this dealer card at the end of the game. And 10 points can make or break you. And so you really want to try and get those if you can. So you might be like, well, I'm going to buy that photographer. Or sometimes you're like, shit, all the photographers are like super famous and cost a lot of money. I guess I'm not going to get photography now.
Yeah,
So.
and then you can just focus on some of the others. And I like that they give you, like, the gallery one gives you 2 different options, and the seller gives you 3 different options.
Yeah.
Technically, you could do all of them, but it's nice that it's not just sell these 5 pieces of art. If you haven't, you don't get anything. It's if you sell this one, you get 5. If you sell these 2, you get 10, and these 3, you get 15 and stuff like that.
Correct.
So I like that they have different levels of it that you can, so you don't feel like a piece of shit for being like, what points did you get for selling? 0.
Been there.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jeff, didn't you get 0 points from selling?
For my gallery. I got
For the
0.
gallery.
I did get 0.
Yeah. Although I do find that part interesting that the gallery is, unless you get the piece of art, the renowned piece of art, it is mutually exclusive.
Yes.
Because the one that has 3 pieces, the one that have 4 pieces, they have 2 different types.
Yep.
On there. So
you need to not only have a celebrity, so you have all 4 places unlocked. You need to win the auction and be able to take the final one from the auction to fulfill.
But really, if you're able to do all that, you don't need that extra 10 points. You probably have won already.
Crushed.
Probably.
So,
yeah, I've never seen anybody fulfill both of their curator goals.
yeah. So I also find it interesting how when you buy someone's art, you increase their fame, which makes your art more valuable. I've never seen it to where you don't buy something and you can then immediately sell it at a profit. Like, I feel like anytime you buy art, you're gonna, like, whatever you buy it at, it's never gonna be less than what you can sell it at, never more than what you can sell it at.
Yeah, you'll always sell it for a profit. The way they set up the different fame levels for each artist, they're going to be at a higher fame level for what your sell price is than what you're going to buy at, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about losing money on a sale.
I was a little surprised that the fame did increase at all when you sell it as well.
That does surprise me a little bit because, I mean, that seems logical. Like an artist whose paintings are getting bought from a gallery would be one that would get more famous. But I guess people don't talk about their art enough. It just sits at home on the wall and nobody mentions it.
It might be because it's being displayed that, you get more fame or whatever.
Yeah.
And I like how you have to kick someone out of your gallery because they're leaving with the art.
Yes.
And they go back to the middle.
So that's also one thing I like. We
haven't talked about the meeples besides how terrible they look.
Right? Yeah. But
they do a lot.
One thing that I like is that, a lot of Euros I don't like are ones where it just feels like pasted on theme. There's like, oh, you could really be doing anything. This one, it felt like the theme, and I've actually heard of this of Vidal's games, is that like he was like, I want to design one about an art gallery, and then designs everything around that. So it's like the theme is ingrained in the actual game.
Yes.
And I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. That a lot of the stuff here, you feel like you're doing, like you're discovering an artist, and you get, and when you discover it, you get a commission because you discovered him.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you get to do it for cheap.
He's like, I owe you.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a lot of stuff in this game that made me feel like, oh, okay, I get like actually putting out pieces of art in your gallery, like just that the visual element of there helps pull you into the game a bit more, which I.
Yeah,
As someone who's really thematically leaning, I definitely appreciated that. Yeah.
There's a few things that are abstracted, but overall, like you said, like I do agree. Pretty much everything, even something like the promotion things looking like the Facebook like symbol. So you're spending the money to get them more Facebook likes. They're getting, again, you're promoting them, you're getting them more popular, and that increases what their art is worth. So, yeah, it all fits. I agree. So, final thoughts. So let's start with you, Jeff.
It's fine.
I like it. It seemed pretty dense and like, oh God, because there's a ton of little parts all around the board. There's all the little Facebook likes. There's all the different auction pieces. There's all the different contracts. There's huge stacks of art and with stuff piled on top of it. But after you actually learn the game, it's all pretty easy. You just have to try and do the best action you can to get you the most money at any time. I liked the game. It's a good game. I don't know how else to say that it's good besides saying that it's good. That we haven't already talked about in its positive ways.
All right.
And it's real purty with a good insert.
All right. Zach, what is your thoughts on the game?
So I've played this about 3 times, I think. And I would be okay if I never played it again. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff I do like about the game, but I feel like I played it 3 times, and the first one was a learning one, obviously, but the second and third one, I felt like basically just sort of playing it the same way. Like I didn't feel. I know there's a lot of variability in the sense of the different pieces have different. Some have some tickets, or it's like the reputation tiles. They have, this one is getting it for the bankers, or this one's getting it for the VIP guys, or this one's for selling. But it all felt like surface level variability for me. Like I didn't feel like I changed up how I played the game. It was just like, I just have to go for this instead. So I don't see myself like, I don't feel like that me playing it, I would get anything more from the game than like playing it more times. I don't think I would get anything more than what I've already gotten from the game.
Okay.
Like I said, for heavy Euros, like after 2 to 3 games, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what the game's about, and then there has to be.
I could make my game more efficient and score more points, but
but otherwise, for me, I don't. I was never.
You're never a big leaderboard.
I got a lot of B's in class because I was like, I could do better, but this is good enough. I never meant to focus. I'm never one to hone a game to get it as perfect as I can be. For me, it's just I played it, and I don't think I can quote unquote learn anything from this game, I guess, or anything like that. So it's mechanically it's fine. And it's enjoyable enough, but I don't get anything else. Like I've gotten what I wanted from it.
You beat the game.
I beat the game. Yes. Yep. So, and not just because I beat you in the game. That's not beating the game. That's just like, all right, you beat novice.
Oh God damn it! I am so. This is why I get so angry when I lose to you.
Yes. He had a great line because he was just like, God damn it, Zach. It pisses me off that you hate these games and yet you're still really good at them.
Yeah, you're supposed to suck at the games you don't like.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's a fine enough game, but I don't need to play this anymore. I'm done with it, basically.
All right. So for me,
Yes.
this was, like I mentioned, the first of my Vital Lacerda games. Since the first time playing it, I have played 3 of his games.
Yeah.
I've played this, I've played Vinhos, and I've played Lisboa. And although this is not my favorite Vital game at this point, I still really, really like the Gallerist. I think that everything that goes into this game, it's the way I like my art is simplistic and minimalistic, and that is a lot of this game. It's 4 actions total that spreads into 8, and then a handful of little small things you can do on the side. Real basic, real simple. The artwork, like Jeff was saying, real simple with subtle details that stand out, but nothing overly complex or overly over the top.
Yeah, but it can still look good too. That's the thing, is that even if it's simple can look good if you do it right. And they did it right.
Like the actual art that I like in real life is minimalistic, simplistic, that's still striking. And that's what this game is. It's striking for me. Like I like playing it. For me, I guess I'm not to the point where you are, Zach, where I feel like I've solved this puzzle. Like I still feel like every time I play it, like, oh man, I could have been a little bit more efficient. I could have done something a little bit different to have done a little bit better with that game. Like, I mean, I'm 60%, I think, roughly wins on this. I have one more than I've lost on Gallerist, but even games where I win, I'm like, man, I still could have done better. Like, and so I'm, you know, like Jeff said, like, yeah, I know what to do and I know how to play it. I still want to do better. Like, I don't feel like I've played a perfect game, and that keeps me wanting to come back. And it doesn't hurt that this is a beautiful game. I love the way it looks on the table. I have fun playing it.
Yeah.
It gives me some brain burn a little bit.
Is that another word for AP?
Sometimes.
But I was going to say, I think that also just speaks to
what I look for in games.
Yeah, well, how we play games too,
Yeah.
is that you're always looking for the perfect game, like doing a perfect play of that or whatever.
Every game.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's why I hate dice.
Yeah.
Unless I can have some magical game where I roll 6s for the entire...
Yeah.
Unless it's a game where I want to roll low, and then... yeah.
Whereas I don't, and so I think that's why I've reached my point where you haven't.
Right. Yeah, I love this game. Vital has easily in the last 4 months replaced Uwe as my favorite designer.
At least something good came out of it.
Uwe is still tops. He's
Clearly not top.
He's not the top, but he's still in the top.
He's first loser.
I'm still buying Uwe games and making you play them. I love this game. I will continue to play it. I'm really looking forward to future Vital games, and yeah.
I'm looking forward to trying Vinhos and Lisboa.
I did like Vinhos better.
Okay.
But that's because it had a defined endpoint. So
Yes. So cost and availability. Unfortunately, this game is not currently available at all.
how much you got it from the Kickstarter for Lisboa, right?
Yes.
How much did you pay for it?
So I purchased the bundle of Vinhos Deluxe Kickstarter and Gallerist Kickstarter for $175, which seems like a steal considering that the cheapest I see it on Amazon right now for the Gallerist is $169.95 plus $28.49 shipping.
Yeah, so that's definitely overpriced.
Yes.
But
Gouger prices.
yeah.
So the
Resellers.
MSRP on the Gallerist is $69.99 for the base game, not the Kickstarter.
That's a reasonable price for that game. For component quality.
Component quality, meeples notwithstanding, yeah.
Yes.
Well, so and I say
It's no terraforming
MSRP.
Mars.
CSI's price is $69.99. Eagle Griffin's website listed at $79.99.
Okay.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
Yeah. Like, for me, I don't... Like, this doesn't have the sustainability that other games do, and so I would say $70, $80 might be a bit much for that, but...
Yeah.
I think that everything the quality insert alone compared with the beautiful art compared with the solid game,
yeah.
I think it's easily worth $80.
They could have made this game a lot smaller, a lot tighter, a lot less work, a lot less everything else,
Yes.
but they did all of that, and that's where the price point
Yeah,
is.
no, I can definitely see. Yeah,
They could have had Terraforming Mars player boards instead
all
of
the-
nice, thick, heavy player boards with gorgeous artwork.
Instead of like the huge like 3x3-inch art pieces, it
Yeah,
could have been
it
little
could have
1-inch
been smaller
tiles
ones, yeah.
and things like that.
it could have just been the abstract sign and the
Yes.
Yeah, they
So-
definitely went the extra mile on the components,
Which I
and the
appreciate.
art.
So-
Yes, I do too.
I would not buy it for the $180 some it is on Amazon right now,
Definitely.
especially considering there's an estimated reprint from Eagle Griffin Games for June of 2017. So wait for the reprint and then catch it on Amazon for below MSRP, CSI for below MSRP.
If you could get it for like 50, definitely.
I
But
would easily.
otherwise, I would say maybe
Or go to your,
maybe play it. Like see if somebody has it that you know.
Go to your local board game cafe
Exactly.
and pay $5
And try it
take
out.
it off the
Try
shelf.
it out. Yeah.
run.
I'm going to be having it at Geekway to the West in May. I've already agreed to play. So
You and Paul are going. Oh God. What hell have I dragged myself to?
You have to play the Gallerist.
there'll be a lot of other people
Yeah.
to play games with, Zach. You can go do interviews while Paul and I
No.
take turns APing over a heavy
Seriously.
arrow.
Oh, God.
we got a fancy new recorder to do those
We did.
things.
We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be reprinted in June. Prices should go down drastically. So until then, look for somebody who owns it or played at your local board game shop or, watch YouTube videos of it.
Yeah.
So there's a few of them. But I like it. It's really good. Zach thought it was fine, but he's done with it.
Yeah.
Jeff likes it. And hopefully we'll
Like
play
I
it
like
again.
most games,
Yeah.
unless it's Magic the Gathering.
Or another CCG.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that wraps up our review of The Gallerist from, like I said, Vital Lacerda, Eagle Griffin Games, and artwork by Ian O'Toole. Mm-hmm. Pretty great game. All right. Well, before we wrap this episode up, I just wanted to say real quick, thanks for putting up with my desire to cover a heavy, heavy game for my birthday review, guys.
Yeah,
I
don't
appreciate
worry. No
that.
problem.
I'm sure we'll never play another heavy Euro
Yeah.
again soon.
Not until next year. So
Not until next week.
yeah, because we're not actually doing Le Havre next week. Don't worry.
We are. Anyway, no new emails.
No.
Slackers.
Yep. There's literally hundreds of you now. You know that you listen to this. So at least one of you send me a goddamn email.
Jeff's going to get real hostile at
yeah.
cons. People will meet us. They'll be like, wait, you're the Mile High Game guys? They'll be like, what? Yeah, we are. Where the fuck's our emails? He's going to lose his mind.
Yep.
So unless you want Jeff to attack you at a con, send him an email.
Or if you do,
He'll pull out his metal claws, go straight for your throat,
just right through the chin,
Yeah.
up through the eyeballs.
No new emails.
and then
Nobody asked any questions for our review or anything on Twitter. So the only thing we really have to address in feedback realm is we had a Twitter poll for music. And
I think New squeaked it out by a vote.
New squeaked it
Yes.
out by
To be
a
fair, at the time
vote.
of this recording, there is some time left to vote that you won't
There
have a
wasn't
chance.
supposed to be. It was supposed to end this morning.
Yeah.
So like the last two votes snuck in after what the original end time was supposed to be.
Well, the end time still says like Wednesday.
It keeps changing, I swear to God.
Okay.
I don't know. But
So we'll see. Everyone listening to this knows which one won because
it's what played when you started listening, and it's what's going to continue to play.
yeah.
Unless we get just a deluge of emails saying, hey, I didn't know about this Twitter poll, but my vote is old music.
Old music, new music.
Unless they're all just Dave1@gmail.com, Dave2@gmail.com, Dave3@gmail.com,
Dave,
David@gmail.com.
Dave, if you do if you send us 1,000 emails,
all from different email accounts.
all from different email accounts, I would be okay with going back to the
And
old
then
music.
sign up
He's gonna
for
pay one of our coding friends $10 to
that's
write
fine.
a bot to
I don't-
just spam us.
I don't want to look at the 1,000+ email in the inbox and be like, oh no.
And they all have to have unique things in their
Yeah.
words, not just like.
And I will read all 1,000
Yes,
of them
you
on the
will.
podcast.
Oh my
we'll have
God.
an email special, and
I will not be present.
feel free to do it at 2 times speed.
yeah,
And that will take up all our bandwidth for the month.
Clearly.
So we'd have to take 1 month break.
Or you could just make a couple Twitter accounts real quick and just be like,
Yep. That's too late for
it's
that.
too late for that.
It's too late.
Literally.
New music one.
Yes.
So, if you would like to participate in these kinds of shenanigans and see our Twitter polls and participate in them, you can follow us on Twitter at MHGameGuys. You can follow these two yahoos at...
I'm Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
You can send the podcast emails at...
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
And we are also on Facebook, Instagram, BGG, all those things under Mile High Game Guys.
Yep.
Basically, if you want to interact with us somewhere on the internet, look for Mile High Game Guys.
Yep.
And if we're not there,
Twitter.
go to where we are and tell us that we need to be somewhere else.
Unless it's Friendster and MySpace.
Google
Is
Circle.
Friendster even a thing anymore?
I don't know.
Can't imagine that it is. MySpace is, though.
Yeah.
It's still around.
Tom's still my friend on there.
So, all right. Well, on that news, let's wrap it up here. This has been another episode of the Mile High Game Guys. And as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Salvador Jeff, but I already used it. When did I already use that one?
You did use Salvador Jeffy.
When did I use Salvador Jeffy?
Bye.
Bye.
It's a cake made of meat.
Yep. Meat cake.
Well then.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. I know what to get you tomorrow.
Jesus Christ.